30 years ago today, a mountain of ash rained on the inland northwest. Mount St. Helens erupted on May 18, 1980, killing 57 people. A news photographer at our sister station in Seattle happened to be on Mount St. Helens the morning it erupted. He raced against the avalanche of boulders, trees, and mud to survive. The whole time his camera was rolling, he talked as the sky above turned black.
I just can't describe it. It's pitch black. Just pitch black. This is hell on earth I'm walking through.
30 years later, Dave Crockett says he feels privileged to have been so close. He says even though he came close to dying, he wouldn't have missed it for the world. It was the story of a career for journalists across the state. A journalist still working here in Spokane provided marathon coverage for the inland northwest. KXLY4 Sally Showman has his story and takes a look back tonight.
Robin, within 3 hours of the eruption, ash started falling from the sky here in Spokane. Daytime was like nighttime. It was so dark here, and on the radio, a familiar voice to many of us, giving us all of the information we needed and wanted to know.
It was the week that was.
At 8:32 a.m., a sunny Sunday morning turned into the darkest day in Washington's history.
And the ash itself, the wall was just solid black, just solid black.
Ash finer than talcum powder snowed in Ritzville, Moses Lake, and Spokane.
It was unbelievable. It was just dramatic, and it was exciting at the same time. I mean, a story of that magnitude doesn't come along very often.
An hour after the eruption, Mike Fitzsimmons went on the air.
All of Spokane was listening to us.
And he didn't leave the radio studio for more than 2 days.
Well, I was on the air for 56 hours from Sunday morning until I took a break, and I was home for about a half a day, and I was back on the air for about 48 hours after that.
He took calls from witnesses and experts. He answered listeners' questions and asked questions of officials.
We had a lot of people call up, what is that? Is it going to rain? Is there going to be a huge storm? That's what people thought it was, because they had nothing to compare it to.
Live on the air, Fitzsimmons talked to a man who watched a family get swept away by a mud flow near the eruption.
They were still alive as they passed by the phone booth where this man was talking to us, and you could hear the screaming, and this was live on the air. And a short time later, their station wagon was found buried in the mud, and all 5 had been killed.
Fitzsimmons devoted his entire show today to this day in history.
30 years ago today, can you believe it?
It helped define his career.
I think that's why most of us get into this business, be able to serve people with information, because information sometimes becomes not just vital, but life and death, and it sure was then.
Fitzsimmons has been on the radio in Spokane since 1974, and he says Mount St. Helens still remains the biggest story he's ever covered. Live on the Sky Deck, Sally Showman, KXLY4 HD News.